simplify each expression by writing it in terms of a function of one angle. And I've already given a bit of explanation for that, but I'm going to emphasize that in a moment. So number one, let's just first figure out which formula we're using here. We have cosine, cosine, sine, sine. When you see that pattern, you have a cosine formula. So let's start there. We have a cosine formula. Cosine formulas, the sum of difference formulas, they like to trick you. So when you see plus in a cosine formula, you're actually looking at the difference formula. As you've been looking over these formulas, I hope you've already kind of noticed that. Sum formula, you actually subtract. Difference formula, you actually add. It's the opposite. Sine formulas don't do that. They do exactly what they're supposed to. Finally, identifying our two numbers, u and v. Those are really easy. They'll always be in the same place. U and v. The first number is always u, and the second number is always v. So we have 80 minus 20. And I didn't write that in the blank because this isn't my final answer. We need to condense it down to one angle, so I'm going to turn that 80 minus 20 into a 60. So you have cosine of 60, and do try to remember that degree symbol. It's not something I'll count out for on an assessment, but technically if you don't put degrees, then the assumed unit is radians. I know you guys look at that and know it's degrees, but if you want to get technical, remember that label, please. And that's all you're doing on this side. Just take your time on it. Let's take a look at the back side, side B. This one you're going to have to think a bit harder on it. Decide if the following are true or false. If the statement is false, you must correct it to make it true. You may not just make it not equal. You have to fix it. When you go through this, check everything. Check the trig functions, check the numbers, check the signs. So just one thing has to be changed to make it wrong. I have several students that are changing or just checking like the first half, and if that's right, then they just assume it's true and move on. Don't do that. Check everything. Number one. Sine of 75 equals sine of 50 cosine of 25 minus cosine of 50 sine of 25. So we have the pattern sine, cosine, cosine, sine. That's a sine formula. Sine, cosine, cosine, sine. Both formulas do that. So it is a sine formula. We'll start there. And then my numbers, u and v, 50 and 25. Now, to get 50 and 25 to get 75, we have to have 50 plus 25. So we're using the sum formula here. But if you look at the expansion, it's a subtraction instead of a plus like it's supposed to be. So that is the error. This is false. And reminder, you have to fix it to make it true. So for this to give us 75, we need to be adding these numbers, not subtracting them. So to fix it, we will turn this minus into a plus. There are multiple ways to fix these problems. By the way, were you about to point out the other one? Go ahead. Exactly. The other thing we could do, since this is the subtraction expansion, we could have been like, okay, this is actually 50 minus 25, since that was originally a minus. We could have just turned that into a 25 instead. So let me demonstrate that on a blank copy, in case you're not following what I'm saying. So this expansion here represents sine of 50 minus 25. So the other way to fix it is to just change that 75 to a 25. That would also make it true. Now, of course, it's a false statement because it's wrong. We had to fix it, but that's the other way to fix the problem. You can either fix the left side or the right side to make it work. You just have to make an equal statement, whatever that looks like. So there are options here. So that one's false.